Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I am not going to be on here for very long, but I thought I would take a second to chime in on something that many of you have asked me about. I didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier because I was talking about something else before, but apparently Jussie Smollett pulled a rabbit out of his hat. Jussie Smollett appears to be luckier than the Duke Blue Devils were yesterday when they had their asses handed to them by Central Florida University. Somehow, some way, all the charges against Smollett have been dropped. I was floored by this. I didn't expect this. I thought Jussie was done. I thought Jussie was going to pay a huge penalty for what amounted to be the lie of the decade, maybe. I don't know, at least the lie of the year. And somehow he was able to come out of this clean. I don't understand. Then again, though, hey, this is Chicago. Anything's possible in the court of law in Chicago. Remember R. Kelly? Y'all remember R. Kelly came in there and did a hat trick too, where he came in and they had videotape and little girls and little Cabbage Patch Kids in his closet with all kinds of stuff and tricycles in his bedroom and they had all kinds of evidence on R. Kelly, all kinds of evidence on this guy, and he walked out without a scratch. He walked out acquitted, and I guess it just kind of shows that I guess anything's possible in a corrupt judicial system. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel about Jussie getting off. I have mixed feelings. And as usual, my feelings, sometimes they align with other people. Sometimes it pisses people off. But I really was stunned by it. Some Sugar Omega, Super Omega said, I'm not Sugar Omega. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you Sugar Omega. But that just sounds so not cool. Anyway, I mean, black man should. I'm a black man. I'm gonna call you Sugar Man. But Super Omega says Jussie got the white woman treatment. I agree. He did get the white woman treatment. His daddy's a Russian Jew. Is that true? Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I mean, is that really the case? I mean, because if that is the case, that does mean something. I mean, if people don't like to hear it, but if you got connected family members and whatnot, then yeah, it can turn into something. That it really wasn't. They will drop R. Kelly's case next. Yeah, crooked ass Chicago. They have hundreds of murders that go unsolved every year, but all that manpower behind these cases. I agree. Chicago. I live in Chicago, and I will confirm to you that based on my experience and based on what I've seen, Chicago is crooked. And I'm gonna tell you, the police superintendent Eddie Johnson, I believe is his name. He is pissed about this. He is livid. He's basically saying, this is bullshit. So let me read this article. It says, after charges were dropped against Empire star Jussie Smollett for allegedly staging his own hate crime, Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson and Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel are furious with the outcome, calling it a whitewash of justice that cost the city more than $10,000. Well, I mean, $10,000, really? I mean, that ain't. Come on, man. Y'all spend $10,000. I don't know, just planting evidence on people. Like I mean, that's your plant evidence on a Negro budget. So I don't really think that $10,000 is a big deal for the city of Chicago. But at the same time, I am admittedly confused by it. I'm gonna guess that it was probably some sort of legal technicality. Had to be a technicality. It was not something based on guilt or innocence, in my opinion. I believe it was based on something that some sort of legal maneuver. Let me see here. Let me type this. I'm gonna send out a text to let everybody know that we're live. Okay. All right. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button while we do that. Hit the thumbs up button. And okay, it looks like we lost one connection, but it's okay. All right. So anyway, so basically, I'm reading this article. It says that here's what Emanuel had to say about it. Rahm Emanuel, which is our corrupt mayor. I mean, it's kind of again the pot calling the kettle black because Rahm Emanuel is super corrupt and he's not. He's not a good guy in my opinion. I think he's a dirty guy as well. In terms of, remember, he covered up that murder of Laquan McDonald. Like y'all remember that, right? When Laquan McDonald got shot up by the cops on video, and he went a long way to dupe black people, just sort of consistent with the theme of black people kind of being the pawns in white men's games. He literally hid or covered up, or at least is what people are saying, and I agree with them, that he covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald by the cops so that he could get reelected. So Rahm Emanuel, he's complaining that, I guess that it's a travesty of justice that Jussie Smollett was let go. But remember, Rahm Emanuel is part of that same system. He's thrived in that corrupt system. And also your boy Barack Obama, your boy, the guy that you love. Many of y'all love him. He came up through Chicago, so Chicago's a dirty place. So let's just be clear. I mean, think about this. I mean, what cities do you know of that would drop charges against R. Kelly and Jussie Smollett, and cover up the murder of Laquan McDonald? I mean, it's crazy. So let's see here. I see where's accountability in the system. You cannot have, because of a person's position, one set of rules applies to them and another set of rules applies to everyone else, says Rahm Emanuel, who is a person who's benefited from the very same privilege that he sounds like he's complaining, the Jussie Smollett guy, relating to the ruling of the nationwide college admissions cheating scandal. Okay, that's what he said about the college admissions cheating scandal. Then he said, our officers did hard work day in and day out and countless hours working to unwind what actually happened that night. The city saw its reputation dragged through the mud, which is true. It's not because it's not, I mean, people in Chicago, tell me if you knew that Jussie's story was bullshit from the jump. Tell me if you knew from the beginning that Jussie was lying. I was one of those people. Go back, check the videos, check what I was talking about. I said, this don't even sound right. Chicago is not a city that has Trump supporters with MAGA hats running around beating up black people who, because they're on Empire. Like that just doesn't even make it. That's stupid. I mean, come on, man. Like we get black people get shot because they in the wrong gang and they on the wrong block. That's credible. We've got liberals who will go off on your ass because you said something that they thought was homophobic. But we ain't got no Trump MAGA hat where you could go to an event in Chicago with 100,000 people at that event, and I dare you to go find one person with a MAGA hat on. One person. So this idea that Jussie's like, oh, these MAGA hat wearing guys recognize me in the dark, and said, you're the gay black man on Empire, aren't you? You're that Empire nigger. Like that just sounds like a guy who is probably mentally ill, who's full of his fucking self. Of course, but why wouldn't you be arrogant? You're the gay Tupac, right? Remember, you hit him up, right? So he's supposed to be this big mega star that people just recognize, at 2:00 in the morning when it's 20 degrees below zero, and you're telling the story and you expect people to believe this bullshit. I knew from the jump that it was a lie. I knew it was a lie, and it was a dangerous lie, because what you're doing is you're painting people in a way that is malicious, that's dirty, that's ridiculous, and it's not cool. It's just not cool in a divided country. Again, if you're wearing a MAGA hat and you really hurt black people, you really go out of your way to do something bad to a black person, then you deserve to be punished. But this idea that they're sort of trying to create this false narrative is consistent with what they're doing when they're politicizing the environment. The people on the right are making up lies about people on the left. The people on the left are making up mega lies about people on the right. Like, for example, the way the liberals are talking about, they're talking about these little kids being divided from their families when they come across the border, and the border agents they gun butt them upside the head with a machine gun. When, a little 5-year-old girl gets her ass beat. Like, they're making these stories up. Most of these stories aren't true. And the other thing is that it's not a big deal in the sense that, divided families are actually in America. There are millions of broken families in the black community that have been broken up by mass incarceration, which was led by Bill Clinton, right? So this idea that you're all sad and you expect us to get all concerned about little Paco from El Salvador who came up and tried to break across the border illegally with his daddy, that's fine, and be sad for little Paco. But my God, you said nothing about little Tyrone and little LaQuisha and little Tiffany and little JoJo in the hood who's been suffering for 20-something years because y'all's asses wanted to put black men in prison by the boatload. So anyway, I just think it's nonsense, right? So I was annoyed from the jump. I said, Jussie's lying. This is stupid. He just created a bullshit fantasy. He thinks life is a movie. Like the whole scene sounded like some shit in a movie. That just tells you somebody who's disconnected from reality. Maybe he was a child actor. Those child actors are weird and they get hooked on drugs and they end up growing up and doing strange things that don't make any sense. Because they're so disconnected from reality. I really felt like Jussie was in that category. So when it came out that he lied, I wasn't surprised. I didn't say, oh my God, I never would have guessed that. I was like, yeah, it's about time they figured that shit out. Here's another little point about Chicago that maybe people haven't talked about much, but I'm from Chicago. I was there that weekend. It was cold as fuck. It was freezing outside. Hey, babe, Alicia, come here. I got a question. I want you to answer this question. You ain't got to come on camera. Answer this question. How cold was it around the time Jussie Smollett said he was out looking for a Subway sandwich at 2 o'clock in the morning? How cold was it up in the bitch? How cold was it in Chicago?
Yeah, it was a deep freeze.
It was
that polar vortex.
The motherfucking polar vortex came through Chicago. Like, did we go out at all that day?
No, we were.
What if I said, hey babe, I'm gonna run outside and check the mail real quick? Is that okay with you? What would you have said to me?
No mail. Keep your butt inside.
You would have said stay inside and stay under a blanket because it's dangerously, definitely cold outside. Like that movie about the end of the world. I forgot where the environmentalists, with the currents got messed up and it became like 20, 50, 100 below zero. Like it was like that. It was dangerously cold. You're really outside looking for a Subway sandwich, and people take the time in that kind of weather to identify you and put a rope around your neck and pour bleach on your head and call you a nigger faggot from Empire.
The whole story is sad. And, there are a lot of gay Black men who legitimately get harassed, and it is wrong. And I thought it would bring some attention to that. But something like this just spoils it.
It was ridiculous. Nobody's going to believe the day after tomorrow. Thank you. It was that day. Yeah. It was cold as hell outside. Oh. So this idea that he was out looking for a Subway sandwich in the middle of the night.
He was looking
for a foot long, wasn't he? He was out looking for a foot long, but it wasn't going to be no Subway. It wasn't going to be on no bread.
That neighborhood, that place where he was on Lower Wacker, I mean, it's known for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a seedy part of the city.
I think he admitted he was a drug addict. So
that's
that might.
What it seems like maybe
You think he might have a mental illness?
He's a child star, and so you never know.
See, I just said that. I said he was a
child.
You
did say that?
Yes.
Yeah,
those child actors.
Unfortunately, who knows? They tamper with those kids, and it's just sad. And you never know to what extent happens to them.
Well, I mean, he's hanging out with Lee Daniels every other day, so anything can happen.
Lee Daniels, that's his boyfriend, I bet. That's his little boy toy.
Oh yeah, I bet they all did ran through Lee, and Lee ran through them. Well, Lee Daniels is, he's truly a fucked up human being. Like he's truly mentally.
Okay.
Lee Daniels tells a story about how he wanted to die. Wait, be careful, Tay Tay. No, back up. Maybe a little bit later.
No, she knows how she wants to be on camera.
I know, right? But Lee Daniels tells a story about how he wanted to kill himself. So he said, my goal was to have as much unprotected sex as possible so I could catch AIDS.
See, the thing, Lee Daniels, he's friends with all those people in Hollywood who are just equally messed up, like Oprah Winfrey, and he's friends with Barack Obama, I'm almost certain. Like it's a whole group of them that probably have severe issues. And they cling together, and Tyler Perry, all of them. Oh. They're all good friends. They're all, I think, degenerate, but
well,
that's just my opinion.
Who gives a fuck what we think? We're only two Black people with PhDs. Black people with PhDs are not nearly as popular as rappers who can't spell their own fucking name. So
but if you listen to what they say and some of the things that they just their interviews, just listen to some of the things that they reveal in their interviews, they can tell the whole story. You put it all together, there is something sinister.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's what they do with Black people. It seems like they take the crazy people and put them in the front. And they take all the normal people in the back to make them crazy. It's like Us.
Exactly.
Us.
There we go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The movie Us. Oh, I forgot you didn't see it, but in the.
Yeah, you saw it without me. In the movie,
put it this way, I'm not gonna spoil it, but in the movie Us, there was a point that was made like that, how being around crazy dysfunctional shit can make you a crazy dysfunctional person.
Absolutely.
So I believe that a lot of our community, doesn't start off crazy. They get put around crazy people. And then they become crazy. They start acting up because of the environment and whatever. So I think that's interesting. Who knows?
We're supposed to look up to them. They need to look up to us.
Right.
None of them can do what we do.
We should never look up to a Negro on TV because all he is he was selected by white people.
A puppet.
In fact, you should look down upon him. You should feel bad for him.
Yeah.
You should ask him, invite him to come back home so he can become normal again as a normal Black person instead of being some crazy deranged Negro on TV.
We should embrace them back into us and then help them heal.
I don't know about that. Anyway,
All right,
okay,
let
all
me
right. So let me see if somebody said Boyce has ADHD. I probably do. You're so right. I so undiagnosed. Hit the thumbs up button, please. Please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com, drboycetv.com. So, because as you know, as you can probably guess, we give you the same stuff or similar stuff, but we always give it to you from a unique angle. Come here, say hi real quick. 10 seconds. This is Taylor. She wants to say hello. And I'm gonna send you away because I don't want you to be one of those child actors that starts acting crazy. You ain't gonna be the next Jussie Smollett. Got it? All right. Who's that? Just don't matter. Just know that you don't want to be like him. All right. So our officers did hard work day in and day out. The city saw its reputation dragged through the mud. It's not just the officers' work, but the work of the grand jury that made a decision based on only a sliver of evidence presented. Okay. Because of the judge's decision, none of the evidence will be made public. So apparently they have a lot of evidence, or he's claiming anyway that they have a lot of evidence, but it will never be made public. Let's see. I think this is Eddie Johnson. This is the Chicago police superintendent who's livid over this decision. He says, this case sends a clear message that if you're in a position of influence and power, you'll be treated one way. And if you're not, you'll be treated another way, he said. Johnson said, our job as police officers is to present them with the evidence. If someone ever falsely accused me of a crime, I would never hide behind a brokered deal and secrecy. So I'd be curious to know if they are alluding to the possibility that Jussie going down is going to cause a lot of other people to go down. Like I can't help but wonder if, is Lee Daniels connected? Was this a publicity stunt, on behalf of the show? Like, what was really happening here that led them to say, okay, nothing to see here, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down, nothing to talk about, nothing here. That's what they tend to do when they don't want you to know what's going on, when they don't want you to know what's behind the magic curtain. Because nobody's talking. I mean, what about those two guys from Nigeria who allegedly set up the attack? I'd love to hear from them. I'd love for, again, Oprah's into doing salacious bullshit interviews. So why not go interview the Nigerian guys who accused Jussie Smollett of telling a lie and pay them a little bit of money to tell their story? Because I believe that Jussie was a liar. I believe that if it were you or I, if it were you, Mr. Greewan or Miss Virtue, I believe that if you had gone and told that lie on national TV like that, I believe you would be in jail. Now, on the flip side, what I did observe with the Jussie Smollett case was very interesting. It's like you saw waves of empathy sort of shifting right before our eyes when it came to Jussie. When the incident first took place, you saw the liberals kind of jumping to his defense, saying, go, Jussie, go. You're the gay Tupac. We have your back. And this is a travesty. This is an example of how horrible those MAGA supporters are. Those Trump supporters, they all want to kill black people. And this is proof, right? And then you saw other people who were kind of questioning what was going on. And then it seemed like as the evidence started to fall apart, you started seeing the liberals sort of dropping a little bit their support. They just started getting quiet. They don't apologize for shit because, unfortunately, a lot of people on the left have become fascist assholes where they literally want to go and attack and Twitter bully anybody who has a dissenting opinion. But when it comes time, when they're caught on their bullshit, they don't apologize because they're too arrogant. They just start getting quiet. So they started getting quiet on Jussie. When they started getting quiet on Jussie, that was proof right there. They knew that it was bullshit. And then you started seeing the voices from the right kind of amplify, and then other people, just people in the middle who believe in truth. Like I see myself in the middle. I don't want to be Republican or Democrat. I'm neither one of those things. I don't want to participate in either one of those parties. And if they don't give me a candidate that supports reparations, I will not vote for any one of them. But the people in the middle who were looking for truth were kind of like, what the fuck, man? Like, seriously, dude? Like, really? Like, did you really do this? And so then you saw where people, once they filed charges on him, it started shifting. We're talking about Jussie Smollett and the charges being dropped. And so you started seeing a shift again. When the charges were filed, it was like, oh no, if you're going to charge this black man for this, you should be charging all the white women who falsely accuse people or who call the police on people who were just walking their dog in the park or whatever. And that's cool too. That was a logical argument, but I didn't like the idea that people were using this as a justification to let Jussie go. It's kind of like talking about the R. Kelly thing. You have to be careful about supporting truth and justice in the R. Kelly situation without sounding like you're defending R. Kelly, right? You can defend the idea without defending the person. And then now now suddenly all the charges just go away. I find that so interesting. So it says, I don't have, let's see, what else does it say in this article? I don't know what's unusual for the state's attorney, but we have found out about but we found out about when you all did, says Eddie Johnson, who's this Chicago police superintendent. He says prosecutors have their discretion, of course. We still have to work with the state's attorney's office. We will have conversations after this. At the end of the day, it was Smollett who committed this hoax. And so a lot of people are upset. It certainly wasn't a mutual decision. Earlier Tuesday, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office announced that all 16 felony counts against Smollett, 36, were dropped in a Noel Pros. I don't know what that is. Any lawyers in the house, feel free to explain what that is. And the record in the case was sealed. So not only did they drop the charges, but they sealed everything. This is crazy. Smollett voluntarily forfeited his bond money, and Smollett's attorney, Patricia Brown Holmes, said the funds would likely go to the city of Chicago. Brown Holmes also admonished Chicago PD, saying they needed to investigate claims before presuming suspects' guilt and trying them in the press. So Brown Holmes apparently is the attorney. Okay, Smollett's attorney. Of course, the attorney's gonna say, okay. Johnson told the press in February, this is Chief Johnson of the Chicago Police, I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anybody, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol? How can an individual who has been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in the city by making this false claim? Let's see here. Smollett has maintained his innocence. Smollett told police he was attacked by two masked men as he was walking home from a Chicago Subway sandwich shop at 2 a.m. on January 29th. Is Subway even open that late? I didn't know Subway was open at 2 in the morning. Anyway, by the way, just a thought. The actor, who was black and openly gay, said the masked men beat him and made derogatory comments and yelled, "This is MAGA country," an apparent reference to Donald Trump's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again." However, the masked men were brothers of Abel and Ola Osundero. So Abel and Ola, we know, were the masked men, right? Pay attention now. Intelligent black people, y'all need to follow me on this. Dummies, get out of the room. Intelligent black people, follow this. So they know who the masked men were, right? Smollett maintains his innocence. He maintains that he was attacked. So given that we know who the masked men were, and we know that Smollett is saying that he was attacked, then are you going to, is the next step to arrest and try Abel and Ola? Not that I want this to happen. I'm not saying I want these brothers to go to jail. I think that they were innocent pawns. I don't even know if they knew what they were getting into. But wouldn't that be the next logical step? You know a crime was committed. You know who committed the crime. Why not go prosecute the crime, right? Now, of course, I guess Jussie would drop charges against them because Jussie's just trying to get out of this shit. He's trying to hope nobody calls him out on his bullshit. But this is so interesting. So the brothers were reportedly observed on surveillance cameras behind the rope that was around Smollett's neck after the attack. Johnson told press that the police pivoted their investigation away from a hate crime and an allegedly false police report after the brothers cooperated with authorities. He later claimed on Good Morning America to have more evidence that hadn't yet been made public that Smollett staged the attack. Johnson, the Chicago police superintendent, told anchor Robin Roberts, who apparently is Good Morning America's resident Negro interviewer. She interviews all the important black people that come through. She's like the Gayle King of Good Morning America. That's what they do. They're in a colorblind society where they don't see race, right? They're like, okay, you're black. We're going to pair the black people together, right? It's because we don't want to catch none of this shit. We know Negroes are interesting for TV. We know that they have a lot of drama. We want their drama and their bullshit aired in public so white people can get a good laugh, but we don't want to be associated with it. We don't want to be called racist. So we're going to find some chosen Negro, give him or her his meritorious manumission, pay him or her lots of money to interview the Negroes and provide good entertainment. That's what Gayle does. That's what Oprah does. That's what Robin Roberts does. It's kind of a thing now. It's kind of like a trendy thing. So anyway, and then Michael Strahan does that for whatever network he's with. All right, so let's see here. So let's keep going. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, who should be just, dealt with. Like, Kim, where are you at, girl? Like, seriously, Kim Foxx. Like, seriously. Was Kim Foxx behind giving Kwame Kilpatrick 28 years? Somebody tell me if I'm right about that. I heard the name Kim Foxx before. Wasn't she in Detroit? Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Somebody look that up. Tell me, make a comment in here. Let me know. But I thought Kim Foxx was the lady. I could be wrong though. Tell me if I'm wrong. If Kim Foxx was the attorney related to Kwame Kilpatrick, I'm gonna type in Kim Foxx and Kwame Kilpatrick, because y'all know Kwame's still locked up. Let me see here. I don't see her name here when I'm Googling this. Somebody tell me, Kim Worthy. Thank you. Okay, good. Sorry, Kim Fox. Didn't mean to get you mixed up. All these damn prosecutors named Kim. What the hell's the world coming to? So anyway, so Kim Fox, who I would love to talk to Kim and find out, like, what are you talking about, Kim? Like Miss Fox, like this is crazy. She recused herself from the case, previously asked Johnson to let the FBI investigate Smollett's attack. And I think the FBI did come in. And so she alleged she asked for the FBI to come in after the former chief of staff to former First Lady Michelle Obama allegedly informed Fox that Smollett's family had concerns about the probe. So the former chief of staff to First Lady Michelle Obama informed Kim Fox that the Smollett family had concerns about the probe, that they wanted fairness. So they bring in the feds, they bring in the FBI and all those resources into the investigation. And I think that's when everything started to unravel, when he started realizing you can't just tell a lie and hope that everything goes away. Unless you're a white woman. If you're a white woman, you can lie about anything and no one will question you, because if they question you, that's blaming the victim, right? So let's see here. Smollett's attorney previously blasted Chicago PD's conduct, telling Fox News that they've witnessed an organized law enforcement spectacle that has no place in the American legal system. The presumption of innocence of Red Rock in the search of justice was trampled at the expense of Mr. Smollett, and notably on the eve of a mayoral election. Oh, come on now. Don't get mad at the people who were talking about your case in public when Jussie Smollett was on stage calling himself the gay Tupac. I don't know if y'all remember that. Jussie was out parading his victimization, telling everyone about it, talking about it, going on national TV shows about it, and using this as a way to boost his career until he got busted and called on his bullshit, until people started looking at facts and evidence, and that's when Jussie got in trouble. So you can't blame them for making the case public, because Jussie himself wanted everything to be public until people started to scrutinize, and until those brothers that he set up to pretend to attack him ended up flipping on him and cooperating with the state and telling everything. So again, I'm not really, I don't know what to say. It is what it is. What are you going to do? It's a stupid world we live in, but that's Chicago. Remember, Chicago is the place, it's the city of Al Capone. It's the city of where R. Kelly had videotape of him having sex with a child and peeing on her, and they still couldn't find enough evidence because justice here is truly blind. Blind meaning that if you have a videotape with evidence of a grown man peeing on a little child, they are so blind that they can't see the goddamn videotape. So Chicago is a corrupt city where justice truly is blind, deaf, dumb, and retarded. And Jussie Smollett's case is yet another example where I guess having a couple of dollars, paying the right people, can help you to get away from whatever situation that you're in. So if you roll through Chicago, this might not be MAGA country, but it's definitely Capone country, right? So it ain't MAGA country, but it's Capone country. And maybe Jussie Smollett knew that, and it's what it is. That's where Rahm Emanuel also covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald so that he could get reelected, so black people would vote for him, right? So again, Chicago cover up, Chicago cover up, Chicago cover up. I'm not going to talk about your buddy Barack Obama and how many cover-ups have been stated and cited in reference to his meteoric, very quick rise through Chicago politics. Nobody rises through Chicago politics that fast without playing ball with some dirty ass sons of bitches. So you can take it for what you want, do what you want with that, but that's my opinion, that's my 2 cents. I'm done. I'm out of here. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button before we go. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, subscribe button, all that good stuff. Subscribe at drboycetv.com. Make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com if you haven't subscribed. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Also, if you want a text alert when we go live, text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. And one more thing, if you want to get books like Powernomics or my book, The New Black Power or Black American Money, I have a whole series of books, and we have flashcards for children that teach them finances and Black history, stuff like that. Feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. So I'm out of here. It's good seeing you guys. And I love hanging out with my League of Intelligent Black people. And thank you guys for being Black and intelligent and not being afraid of the truth and having the courage to engage in meaningful conversations and not the nonsense that we see on TV. And I'll keep on bringing things to you as they arise. So take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Peace.